time to think about this, and I want to be careful how I say this because it's a public forum and things are dangerous these days. You can say them and get misinterpreted, taken out of context. But you guys putting the snow cone in the Ice Cream Hall of Fame is one of the most offensive things I've ever heard.
Oh, man.
You're misrepresenting on purpose.
Yeah.
It was not put in. It was added potentially as a contributor to the game.
Yes.
The snow cone goes in no Hall of Fames. Not the Water Hall of Fame, not the Flavors Hall of Fame, not the Syrupy
How
Hall
about
of
the
Fame.
Ice Hall of Fame?
Not the Ice Hall of Fame.
What does snow cones do to you?
The snow
You're
cone.
keeping snow cone out of the Ice Hall of Fame?
I mean, George Gervin.
The snow cone is not welcome in any of these conversations. And furthermore, another correction I have to make. The Blizzard is different from a milkshake. The Blizzard is not in the milkshake category, even though it comes as a milkshake. That is straight ice cream. Milkshake is a different thing.
Right, you have to use a spoon for that.
You cannot eat a Blizzard through a straw. You cannot.
If you let it melt enough, I think you can.
Oh, no,
okay.
when you get a milkshake,
Right.
you are given a spoon and a straw.
On a thick one, yes.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I don't think that ice cream can qualify for a Hall of Fame if it's something you're not eating with a spoon. If you're bringing it through a straw or if you're drinking it, it stops being ice cream. Like you don't drink ice cream.
I think ice cream is too limited of a field to start excluding the milkshake. The milkshake doesn't deserve its own Hall of Fame. Maybe in dessert treats, but like I think the milkshake. Innovations with ice cream should absolutely be up for
You
consideration.
could put
for
it in the
Ice Cream
Milk Hall of Fame if you want to. If you
Well,
want.
that's nice of you. Thanks.
It's equal parts milk and ice
You're in
cream.
charge.
No,
I mean,
no. Is ice cream an ingredient in the milkshake?
Yeah, it's a massive
Yes.
ingredient. So it's part of the base. It's the base of the product.
Therefore, making it eligible for the Ice Cream Hall of Fame.
I agree, Roy. I agree. What else would be in the Milk Hall of Fame?
just milk. I mean,
2%. That's
Jinx.
it.
Just chocolate milk.
2%'s not going into the Hall of Fame.
well, what's
Heavy
going
cream.
into the Milk Hall of Fame? I mean,
Whipped cream.
besides straight milk.
Just
I
chocolate
mean,
milk.
Cows.
Oh,
cows.
chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only
cow.
chocolate milk.
Right.
I've
Yeah.
still never had a glass of plain milk.
What?
Eggnog.
You're just doing
Like
it.
just
It's
by
impossible.
itself. Like just
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
itself.
Never.
I mean, you do that when you're 9.
Horchata.
How holistic are your parents? Were they you like oat milk and cashew milk and coconut
You have
milk?
my parents being hippies, Dan.
I just have you raised on not having milk. It strikes me as something that has to be a modern. It's a modern thing where
We just
people
weren't
have
a milk
realized.
family. There's milk families and then there's non-milk families. I was just
Really?
a non-milk family.
It seems like
in
a
the
basic
American
essential,
Midwest,
We
in the
did
American
have-
Midwest. It seems implausible.
That is true. We did have the. I guess we were a milk family for a short period of time. We had the Oberweis bottles that you'd leave out on the front porch.
So you did
and
have
the
milk.
Oberweis guy would come and refill the glass jars and then bring it back.
Right.
It was very quaint.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that anymore.
Mm.
Wait, so you were once a milk family, but during that period, you never had a glass of milk?
Never.
How about Milk Duds, Dan? Since you're the
Love a Milk
gatekeeper
Dud.
of the
That's a
Milk
good
Hall of
question,
Fame.
yeah.
Milk Duds in the Milk Hall of Fame. I might consider it for the Candy Hall of Fame. It is not allowed in the Milk Hall of Fame. I love how indignant you're getting about what you think is my strident appraisals on this. Like you're
You're
getting,
the one who came in
Right,
guns blazing
yes.
to get snow
Thank you.
cones out of here,
Right.
Yeah.
milkshakes in the Milk Hall
Elitist.
of Fame.
Thank you.
You're the one who-
Elitist.
Yeah.
You've been gatekeeping this segment. You're the only one who's been gatekeeping.
elitist. You're making what kind of elitist are you making me?
Are you too good for snow cones?
Snow cones don't belong in any of the Hall of Fame. Snow cones are not a special thing. It's ice with some sugar flavors on it. It's not a special thing in any way
then
that
why-
deserves
then
to
why
be
does
in the
it
Hall
do-
of
I
Fame.
mean-
It's what it. First of all, the stuff we're talking about is rich and creamy and decadent. The snow cone is just flimsy.
Yeah,
it's,
but-
it's barely
No,
classifying
no.
as something sugary and wonderful.
But I think we started with the ice cream truck, and I think that's an original. It's like the
Exactly.
original 6 in hockey. I think the snow cone was in the original ice cream truck. I'm serious.
Really, the ice cream truck is the
Right.
Maple Leafs.
Would you
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
cotton candy in a Hall of Fame?
Which Hall of Fame?
Any Hall of Fame. Is cotton candy a Hall of Famer?
I might put a cotton candy
It's the
in the
same
Hall
thing.
of Fame of things you eat at the fair. things that you eat, like with
Very limited category. So
it
the
is
Fair
very
Hall
limited.
of Fame.
It is
along
very
with the
limited.
Gravitron.
Elephant ears.
Fried dough.
Ah, yes,
Exactly.
elephant
Fried
ears.
dough.
Yeah.
Fried
Funnel
dough.
cakes,
Zeppelins.
I love
Fried dough.
Zeppelins.
Deep
yes.
fried mac and
elephant
cheese.
ears.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, deep fried Snickers.
In the Carnival Hall of Fame, fried dough, of course. Yes. Zeppelins. Yeah. What's the matter with you?
I just couldn't imagine eating fried dough.
Have you not been to the youth fair?
I have. I just, I don't really partake in many of the treats. I find them mostly to be ghastly.
Oh my, ghastly! Wow,
Pierre Gasly.
Jesus!
And Cassie, yeah.
You don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
the fair? I imagine you walking through the convention center and like seeing what fourth grader won third prize in like the poetry contest or like the art or whatever, and think, too high.
Science fair.
It's the Chris Whittingham
Overrated.
poetry contest.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Do you wander around the fair and criticize the art of the children at Le Batard Show? A story, Stugotz, that we did not get to this week is the contract clause. And wow, what a hell of a smear to have in the middle of a magical day where you get a $47 million a year contract, but also as a bonus, hey, Kyler Murray, you don't study enough. And your contract will be in default if you don't have 4 independent hours of homework every week. That, a lot of people were reminded of the Jamarcus Russell story where he was studying so little that the coaches sent him home with a blank CD to study on his own and tested him when he came back about whether or not he had watched it. They were tricking him.
Right.
And they tricked Jamarcus Russell. He was not studying, and Kyler Murray now has a contract clause where if he's not doing 4 independent hours of homework at the most studious position, I think, in sports, that he will be in default of a contract that pays him $40+ million a year.
To me, it's odd the clause would be in there. It's because I feel like what they're telling you is he got by. He's not the hardest worker. He's just such a great athlete. And that's enough to get us to the first or second round of the playoffs, but it's not enough to get us where we want to get to, which is the Super Bowl. But it seems like a weird thing that you would have to agree to. Like, if you believe in the quarterback, you believe in the quarterback. And can't you just have like a wink, wink? Like, hey, Kyler, we need you in the film room more. You have to put it in the contract, and then that contract is now known by every single person on the planet. It's a bit embarrassing to Kyler Murray. Just say, hey, we're going to give you this contract. We need you to hit the film room a little bit more. He says, okay. You either trust the guy or you don't. It seems like a ridiculous thing to add to a contract. Hey, we need 4 more hours in the film room. I've never heard of it.
They don't trust him, Stugotz. They don't trust him to do it on his own. They don't trust him. That's why it's in there.
But then it would be odd to give a guy you don't trust that much money if you're that concerned over 4 hours of film work. I mean,
But they don't trust him, and they're giving him that much money so that they have the out on the addendum that would I'd love to see
but
them.
that's strange to me, Dan, because Lincoln Riley is on record, and he just said they asked him about it after he signed the contract. Said one of the hardest workers I've ever had. Like, there are people in Oklahoma who said this kid works really, really hard, and he does hit the film room.
He doesn't study the playbook, but he's an athlete, and he's a black quarterback. Just gave me a bad reaction.
This happens to the black quarterback as a smear usually before they get to the draft. It doesn't happen very often with the quarterback you're giving $40 million a year. If I were Kyler Murray, would be hurt and bothered that my big day. This is a guy who had some difficult decisions to make. He chose the harder path. Baseball money is safer physically.
Yes.
And he chose the path of football and got crazy money, glamour, rock star position, has an annual contract now that is worth more, as I told you earlier this week, than the Oakland A's payroll this year per year. And on his big day, everyone now learns something that had been whispered about and reported, but now cannot be disputed, that Kyler Murray's team doesn't believe that Kyler Murray can be trusted to care enough to do the work at the position that is required that is extra. The stories are pretty famous about Drew Brees being at the facility at 10 p.m. and being very poignant with his words about what is required to be excellent at what it is that those 15 people in the world who are good enough to do that and be paid like that, you can't do it half-ass. It's not possible to play at the top of that position and not be putting in the kind of work that would make some people crazy because it's obsessive, it's consuming, and it's the smartest position in sports. But it's only the Lamar Jacksons and the Kyler Murrays and the Jamarcus Russells that get hit with this. Ryan Leaf got plenty of it, and he was pretty egregious. He's one of the biggest busts in the history of the sport. But you said, Stugotz, that you found everything happening right now around Lamar Jackson to be hugely interesting as we continue to move the goalposts. Kyler Murray got 5 years. Is that what the deal was?
Yeah,
because
an extension, though.
I think that Lamar Jackson is going to be wanting one of these 13 or 15-year deals, one of these Patrick Mahomes type deals. I think if I'm a team, I want to give Lamar Jackson 5 years no matter what I have to pay him per year because I want the prime of the athleticism because the athleticism makes him special, and then you can sit there and have conversations about the passing if you want. But in 5 or 6 years of punishment and a running back type of position, I think that can age poorly, and you'd like to guard against giving him too many years if you're a franchise that is in a salary cap sport.
But just thinking about it through the prism of Lamar Jackson, Dan, he should have the richest contract. Listen, with Deshaun Watson, the Browns don't trust. There's no way they could sit here and flatly tell us that they trust him. They trust that everything's going to be fine
Guaranteed
moving
every
forward.
dollar in his contract.
I understand that. With Kyler Murray, they're asking, hey, 4 extra hours a week in the film room. Lamar Jackson has never had an off-the-field issue. He's won MVPs. He works hard. His teammates love him. The coaching staff loves him. He's the face of an organization. He's never had a great wide receiver, not one. Not a single great wide receiver. And yet he has won an MVP, made it to the playoffs, and won a playoff game for the Ravens. And you have all these off-the-field concerns with Deshaun, and clearly you have Kyler Murray in terms of working hard. Okay, I'm not comparing their two off-the-field issues. They're totally different, obviously. But you have two teams giving a lot of money to two guys that you're not so certain you could trust. Lamar Jackson, you know he's good, and you know you could trust him. And Lamar Jackson should be asking for the richest contract in the game. I mean, he should get it, quite frankly. And I wonder how it's going to play out because he deserves it.
It's the years. The years is what will make the Baltimore Ravens squeamish. I don't think richest contract is something that the Baltimore Ravens would object to. He is the face of their franchise. He's their offense. All the other outside of Andrews, for the time that Lamar Jackson has been MVP worthy, the Ravens have one offensive player that you think about. It's Andrews, and it's this guy. It's Lamar Jackson, and the one weapon that he's had is Andrews. We could talk about the
Hollywood Brown's been in that conversation as well.
But I mean,
do you know Andrew's first name?
Because
I don't.
No, it's Mark.
It's Mark. Okay, thank you. I didn't know. I was asking.
He's exceptional. He's an exceptional tight end, and he's one of those Frankensteins that can't be guarded. But the clause that we learned on Kyler Murray, did we all learn that at the same time? Not as it relates to Kyler Murray, but that such a clause could be put in place. That I did not know that a contract could be that fragile. I did not know that in football, I can give a guy $40 million, but if he's not giving me 4 extra hours a week, I could void the contract. He'd be in default.
Yeah, Andrew Brandt, who studies this stuff, it works for Sports Illustrated and a variety of outlets, has said he's been looking at NFL contracts for 35 years and not seen anything like that. So the answer is no, this is not a common thing. I don't know what other sorts of things you hear about contracts, like don't go snowboarding if you have like this massive amount of money guaranteed. But the thing that I was kind of uncomfortable by is I think there's like a generational gap here. Because this seems like a group of older executives not relating to the fact that Kyler Murray likes to play video games. Because there are people out there that I work with him on video game initiatives.
In his spare time, by the way.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yes, right.
Like, he is a gamer. He likes to play video games a lot. But I don't think, to this point, there is a great deal of evidence. Now, clearly the Cardinals see some, but there's a great deal of evidence that this has affected his performance in any significant way. But I think this is something where, like, it feels very parental. It feels very like, can you do your homework, please? Can you stop playing the video game so much? Can you do your job? Like, it's like, it's very parental. And like, I'm not sure if this is just generations being unable to relate, because modern athletes play video games.
Kingsbury's not old.
Yeah. Work with college kids as well. So, like, not that long ago.
But it does feel like that. It's odd that he would agree to that.
Kingsbury, by the way, has said that he was not responsible for this, that he did not signal anything to the front office hierarchy.
You buying that?
Like, I mean, it's what he said.
I think he's responsible for it. I mean, you have to protect your coach there, right? Because the coach-player relationship is important. You want to, the coach wants to at least give off that he trusts the player, that he's going to put the work in. But I think absolutely Cliff Kingsbury was the guy who asked for that clause to be in there.
Let's talk about free time,
because he's the guy who's spending the most time with them. I mean, he would know, right?
Let's talk about whether people listening to this want their quarterback playing too many video games. Because my guess is the answer is no. My guess is we'd say, hey, your free time's your free time. But that position as the epicenter of a sports city, because don't even make it about make it about franchises. The biggest star in your town. Kyler Murray's bigger than Devin Booker, right? The quarterback, the guy who plays quarterback in your city and is a source of excitement. I'm thinking the entire audience here is saying, yeah, don't be playing too many video games. Like, I don't want you being obsessed with video games. I need you
obsessed with winning.
I need you in the film room.
What would you rather have? Him playing video games or him being down here in Miami Beach, living it up? I'd rather him play video games.
Video games get so stigmatized when it's like probably one of the safest things you can do. You're just alone at home playing a video game. Like, you can't get hurt.
I think
it seems playing golf. You can get hurt going to the water park with your kids.
It hurt your thumb.
Like, oh, video games. Oh no.
But it's associated generationally with laziness.
Yes.
I think there's a certain generation of people. 15 above,
exactly.
55 and above, that like view it to be like you are not being productive with your time.
There's better use of your time.
You're wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you're really good at video games, it's because you worked really hard at it. People act like it's so easy to be good at Call of Duty. You got to put in the hours in that.
But he's not
Fortnite,
getting paid for it.
Got to do it every night. There's no laziness involved.
Esports.
That's BS. It's just a stigmatized. Like, if you're really good at golf, everyone's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, what an incredible person. But if you're good at video games, it's like, what a dummy. What an idiot.
By the way,
video games are great.
If they're 12-1 with a big game coming up against the Rams, let's say, and he doesn't put the 4 hours in, you think they're going to cut him? like you think, like they find out he hasn't put the extra 4 hours in. In fact, I would do that if I were Kyler Murray. I would get to 12-1, not do the 4 hours of extra film work, and dare the organization to void the contract.
What I don't get is why. I assume that the Cardinals would have leaked this because I don't think Kyler Murray's agent would have. But why would they do that to embarrass him after he just signed the contract? Like, why would they want this to be public? Because it makes them look bad too.
Is it just the retaliation for him, like, dropping all of his Cardinals logos on Instagram? Like, is this like one last little kick? Hey, don't play that shit with us anymore.
If you're paying someone hundreds of millions of dollars, you don't want to make it look like it was a bad choice on your part to trust them with that. It makes them look bad, just as bad as it makes him look bad.
Why do you guys assume that the Cardinals leaked that? I don't know. I
don't assume that, but it doesn't make sense that his agent would leak that. That
how
makes
would
him
it
look
get
terrible.
Right.
I don't know how it ended up in public for all of us to look at. I do know that after it happened, a lot of people are wondering, as we did on this show. So you're extending everybody. You're going to make this a package deal. It's not going to just be Kyler Murray, but he's going to be tied to management. And I guess Mina Kimes was critical of this on television. I think it was Pardon the Interruption where she did it. And the Cardinals tweeted at her, "You good, Mina Kimes?" And her response was, "Yep, just sitting down for some television and doing some study of film work." Which she was, incidentally. Like, it's not a joke. I talked to her the other day, and she was about to delve into some Marcus Mariota tape, which made me very sad for her.
No, but for
she
me,
loves that. That's a great day for her.
I understand, but it made me very sad for her that her July was not being spent with video games or even good quarterback scouting. It was just...
Mariota's had some moments.
Yes. Yep.
I feel like you're trying to find, what is there in Marcus Mariota? There's something to be untapped with Marcus Mariota, for me at least.
Marcus Mariota, to me, has been the new evolution of Brock Osweiler that I hate, which is the guy throwing 6-yard passes.
No. That's not.
That's harsh.
You don't compare those.
The new evolution is what I was saying of if you're making him my quarterback, not only am I getting him doubtful every week during the season, but I have not been getting exciting quarterback play from the Titans. They replaced him with Tannehill and flourished wildly. I don't think most of the people listening to this are saying, maybe some Falcon fans are out there saying, I can't wait. But I don't think most of the people listening to this are saying, Marcus Mariota, please make him my quarterback. And I'm getting something that's a great deal better than Jacoby Brissett was with the Colts.
But to get back to your original question, how would Cardinals fans feel about their quarterback playing video games, or any football fan? Like, I've always kind of viewed that the second an athlete steps out and does anything that represents an external interest, right? Let's say someone does a lot of, like Robert Lewandowski, who plays for Barcelona now, is really good at TikTok. The second he misses something, oh, why don't you get back to doing TikToks? Like, it's always used sarcastically against a player to have any interest beyond, Pat McAfee saying on his radio show that Peyton Manning did 20 hours of film study a week. Do your 20 hours of film study, and when you're done with your 20th, do your 21st. Like, as if you have to be singularly devoted to this in order to be good at it. And the second you have an external interest that becomes the slightest bit public, it's hit him over the head with it.
Oh, Juju Smith-Schuster faced this ever since he started going on TikTok too. But I don't think I think it's specific interests that we target. And it's the interests of young people and mostly technology. Because I do think if you're Tom Brady and you're playing, 3 rounds of golf a week, I don't think anyone cares about that, because that's traditionally something that's accepted as a use of spare time. But I think if you're spending time editing a TikTok video or a YouTube channel or whatever, it's suddenly like, oh my God, this guy's unserious. Like, he doesn't care about this.
But Brady does have 7 rings. That helps, right?
Yeah, I was just
do what
using
you
him
want
as
in
a
your spare
stand-in.
time. And
You could put any
he's probably
athlete.
watching film in the golf cart. Like,
You can put any athlete in for Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is not watching film in the golf.
I wouldn't put it
cart.
past him. I mean, be careful. I care about you.
Culturally, the industry is interesting here because there have been studies done on nurses where working too many hours makes you less productive than you would be if you were fresher. That Jim Leland used to say this all the time. He used to spit it at Greg Zahn because Greg Zahn would get into the game and then hit a ball through the warning track. And he's like, you're taking too much batting practice. Work smart. You don't have to work hard. And this sport, everything about this sport culturally is those 4 extra hours matter. And it's not just that the contract doesn't have a lot of precedent in us ever hearing, hey, quarterback guy, you're not working hard enough. But to me, when I see it, if you guys are saying that you think the Cardinals leaked this, because I don't know where the information came from, but that last playoff game they played was confusing to all of us, wasn't it?
Yes. Against the Rams, he was terrible.
And so when I see that contract clause, I can't help, in the absence of being able to explain what the hell happened to the Cardinals the second half of the season, what the hell happened to that offense in the playoffs that I was scared of all season, and then I wasn't scared of it anymore. And Whittingham mentioned earlier this week that, he hurt his ankle, and there can be physical explanations. But when you're presented with something you haven't seen at the quarterback position, that's just smearing him. There's no getting around the fact that is an intelligence, work hard smear on Kyler Murray. I'd be real curious on what the roots of that being out in public are. Why did we ever find out about that? It's not like we know the language in a lot of these contracts.
I think my best guess would be the Cardinals want you to know that we're going to sign this guy to a lot of money and 5-year extension. but they want you to
and
know.
immediately betray him.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I don't agree with it, Dan. I'm just explaining. I'm trying to explain it.
But you're saying that an organization goes from guaranteeing in a salary cap sport a huge amount of money
Yes.
at quarterback to a first act of business after getting his signature betray him.
By letting you know that they can get out of this contract if indeed he's not working hard enough. Like I think they're telling you that. Like, hey, we like the guy. He's been getting by on athleticism alone. He needs to work a little bit harder, and we've ensured that he's going to work harder. It's embarrassing. It's weird.
It's
also weird he would agree to it.
If I were him, not given the amount of money involved and not given that that's a condition of enforcing work, I wouldn't say that it's that weird that he agreed to it, given the money involved in this, that they're asking him to do a little bit extra work. I just think that it is an insult if indeed the Cardinals are releasing this information.
Yep.
It's more insulting to betray him than it is to make the request in a contract. Like to insult your employee by telling him, hey, you don't work hard enough contractually is one thing. Not being able to keep it private to me is more insulting. Like you can make the request.
I understand that, but Dan, it's one of two places, is it not? It's either Kyler's camp
Stugotz,
or it's the Cardinals.
I'm not comfortable enough.
Why would Kyler release that?
I'm not comfortable enough being as absolute about you are. I have no idea where it came from, making the jump of where it came from. I don't know where it came from. But if you're blaming it on the Cardinals, I would hate to work for somebody that would immediately betray me after I sign a contract. I wouldn't like to have those people in charge of my career.
I think most people would say, hey, give me $240 million and don't trust me all you want. You know? I think most people would say that, right? I'll sign. You can, release it if you want. I have $240 million. All I have to do is work 4 more hours a week.
But you started this segment by saying how wrong it was, how ridiculous it was.
I think it's wrong, but I think most people would agree to it. Kyler Murray did not have to agree to it.
Most people would agree to, yes, most people do anything to me. Let me keep my freedom and my health and do anything else and give me $240 million. But that's not where he works. That's not the stratosphere. He chose between great options. He chose a career that had great options in it, and he was taking you mentioned the organization, taking down his social media that was Cardinal friendly. If the starting point on this is he's already mad at the organization and taking down his stuff, and then the next jump on this is the organization has betrayed me by releasing this information that I don't have a good answer for you, Stugotz, but I'd be surprised if the Cardinals would do that to him. Like
right.
It's
confusing. I'm with you. I'm guessing as well.
It doesn't seem to be a good faith act of a relationship that you'd like to build over 5 years that is trustworthy and has to endure, what Baker Mayfield endured. Play hurt, play tough. You got to keep going out there for us, because I would not feel. If I'm Kyler Murray, I'd be looking around and be wondering who did this to me.
Right.
Who released this information on me, and especially on a day that should be a day of conquest and celebration, and I'm pledging some of my future to you here.
Mickey ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
We totally left it out.
Yes.
The chocolate-covered Mickey ice cream.
Right.
The Mickey ears. But the thing is, as soon as you take one bite, the clock is on.
Yeah.
Because you need to get through that real quick.
It melts so fast.
So
It
fast.
does, yeah.
And it's Orlando in the summer. I mean, it's in your hands. It's going to be the rest of
It
the
melts
day.
faster than all other ice cream.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that ice cream sandwich that ends up like embedded in your finger. Like it's not until you take a shower.
Oh, I love that.
At the end of the day, that you
save it for
get
later.
out.
Yeah.
Lick your nails.
Did we mention the Dole Whip?
Oh, Dole Whip. Good shout.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Dan is the gatekeeper, the Ice Cream Hall of Fame.
The Mickey is not allowed in the Hall of Fame. It melts too fast.
It melts terrible. I mean, who the hell are you?
Fraud.
Seriously.
Fraud.
Jesus Christ.
Fraud.
No longer in charge.
Melts too fast. Please.
Stugotz has it right when he tells Jason McCourty, this rookie, this new co-host of Good Morning Football, that he's got a championship golden trophy behind him. He's
Silver
on.
trophy.
He's on television, and he's blocking the trophy with his big bald head. This is just a rookie move. You've got a great job in football. You've got a great job post-career with, I don't know, that's probably the most fun show going about football these days, right? Now you're joining them, so thank you for being on with us. Do you have a lot of jewelry-type things in the house, a lot of championship memorabilia?
That's the only championship memorabilia. I recently did like my whole retirement speech thing down here. So my wife has set up a bunch of stuff that we had. So this is really like the only spot with anything football in the house right now.
Can you tell us how emotional the retirement party was? Because your story is really unique. I mean, 6th round pick out of Rutgers. You're not supposed to have a, 14, 15-year career?
Yeah, I was able to make it 13. And I think, like you said, when we put the little video together, we had the kids kind of talking voiceover from Pop Warner to high school to college to the pros, talking about my career and watching it. My wife teared up and everything. And it was a little sad watching, I think. For me, when I got drafted back in 2009, I thought like, hey, I can maybe be a gunner in this league, get a special teams role. And man, 13 years later to be able to play, start for majority of my career, win a Super Bowl with my brother. It was one hell of a journey that I'm very proud of.
Wow. So your highest dreams and expectations is maybe I can just be on special teams for a few years.
Yeah, I think some of it was just the fact of like what people tell you, you're a late round draft pick. I went at the end of the 6th round at that. So you don't really know where you stand. Confidence kind of can waver. And I think when I got there early on, I was like, man, like I can play with these guys. There's guys coming from all these big time schools. And I'm like, I'm just as good, probably better than some of these guys. So I think I went in with that chip on my shoulder. There were a lot of cornerbacks drafted before me, I think 30 something. And I wanted to prove to myself and to a lot of other people that I can play better and play longer than a lot of those guys.
So what are you going to be doing on co-host when you co-host for Good Morning Football? Because if I ask you the question, how opinionated, the Patriot guys can be very careful. And I ask you your opinion on Lamar Jackson, for example, and an anonymous defensive coordinator coming out and saying, I don't care if he wins 12 MVPs. That's not a quarterback in our league. They keep moving the lazy analysis around on this guy. Your thoughts are what when it comes to Lamar Jackson?
I mean, to me, that take is, to say I don't care how many MVPs he wins, that award is given to the most valuable player in our league. So to discredit an MVP sounds crazy to me. I know when we played against him in 2019, down there in Baltimore, that first quarter hit us and we were down 14-0 before you know it, because you can practice it. You can put a receiver at quarterback when you're getting ready. But when it happens, it's a lot faster than when it looks like. I think Lamar Jackson has some work to do. To me, what he's been able to do in the regular season, what the Ravens has been able to do in the regular season has been very impressive. But when you watch them in the postseason where defenses really start to narrow in, they haven't been able to do the same things. They haven't been able to get over the hump to win those type of games. And I think that's going to be where the work needs to be done. But I'm not somebody who sits back and says, all right, Lamar Jackson's not a quarterback. I want to see them do more within their offense. I want to see them open it up more and allow him to possibly do more, because their offense right now isn't designed to be able to drop back and throw the ball 40 times. So when they get down and they try to do it, they don't have the personnel built from a wide receiver standpoint or from an offensive line standpoint. So when we see him struggle, we put it all on him. But I think there's more to the equation than just Lamar Jackson.
Jason, of those 30-some-odd corners that were drafted ahead of you, how many of those guys can you name?
Oh, man. I can name quite a few. Vontae Davis, Sean Smith, Darius Butler, my guy, the Spider-Man, LaDarius Webb. There was quite a few guys, and those are the guys who had really good careers as well. But I don't want to go down that.
You can name them all, though. I feel like,
yeah.
Well, 38 guys.
But you didn't think. I don't know what your confidence level was when you were going in the 6th round. If all you want to do is be a gunner, and everyone's telling you this is what you're going to be, you can't come out of Rutgers and be someone who starts in the league for 13 years. Maybe you didn't think those guys shouldn't have been drafted before you.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a guy. Me and Dev used to laugh about it all the time because I'd say I'm a 6th-round draft pick, and he would introduce himself obviously as a 1st-round draft pick, and he always used to say to me, "Hey, you should have played better in college. You would have got drafted higher." And to some extent, that's true. Some of those guys have really good college careers, and I think for me, you can't name a bunch of Rutgers DBs in the past that have come and played long, historic careers to be able to say, "Hey, this guy, Nate Jones, played for the Cowboys. He had an 8-year career beforehand." But there weren't many guys that had long careers in the NFL. So it's hard sometimes to envision yourself. And I think that's just an overall thing when it comes to confidence, when it comes to having that vision of what it's going to be. But the one thing about myself, whatever I commit to, I go in 100%. So I can start out confidence wavering, but it's going to get my full effort in it.
Do you have a best twins story, a way that you're connected to your brother that we couldn't possibly understand?
Oh, man. I think one of the things that has gotten a lot of traction is his draft story. He ends up being on the cusp. I remember just kind of leading up to it. He was a guy that was a late first round, maybe an early 2nd-round guy. And ESPN, I said they were going to put a camera in the house for the draft, so fired up about it. Not a bunch of people at the house, but was going to just have some close family and close friends over. And like the day of or night before the draft, it was just like, nah, we're actually going to pull the camera. We're not going to have it there. So in Dev's mind, he's like, what the hell's going on? Did they get word? Am I no longer going in the 1st round? So as the draft creeps closer and closer to the end of the draft, trades start happening. He goes to the bathroom, and then boom, his phone rings. So I'm the closest one to him. I pick the phone up. Hey, how you doing, Devin? This is Mr. Kraft on the phone. So there's no time to sit there and say, well, hey, this isn't Dev, this is my brother. So I'm like, hey, Mr. Kraft, how you doing? Hey, we're going to take you to this next pick. Oh, I'm fired up. Can't wait to get to New England, blah, blah, blah. He goes, all right, I'm going to get ready. I'm going to hand the phone over to Coach Belichick. That's when I ran to the bathroom, slid the phone under the door. I had just spent the year in Tennessee, and all the Belichick rumors. I'm just like, I don't want to talk to this guy on the phone. He's mean, whatever. So I slide the phone to Dev. So to this day, I don't know if Robert Kraft knows that he actually drafted me in the 1st round, and my name wasn't on the check. So I guess it didn't really matter.
You were an imposter, though. You fully played the part. You were filibustering on behalf of a brother that I now imagine was mad or shitting.
I didn't open the door, so I don't want to assume which type of business he was taking care of in the bathroom, but he was able to answer the phone and be drafted and talk to Coach Belichick. So if he was done wiping, whatever the case may be, he got it all done in enough time.
That's a dangerous game, though. You could slide it under, and it could be mid-flush, and all of a sudden there's a flushing sound. Also, right. I don't know if you ever taken a call in a bathroom, but it can be very echoey.
Yes,
and all of a sudden,
a lot of dangers here.
I think whenever I'm on the phone in the bathroom, I always assume the other person on the other end of the line knows.
Yes,
it's just dangerous.
It's vulnerable.
Bill Belichick, first conversation.
I just love how you guys quickly just went through every scenario that could go wrong when answering the phone in the bathroom. It makes me start to think how many times you guys are on the phone in the bathroom.
Yes, most of the time.
That was quick thinking by you. I would never think to impersonate my brother that quickly. I would just say, hold on a second, he's shitting. And
it's a heady play, though, by Jason. You got to do what you got to do.
You can't say that to Robert Kraft.
Robert Kraft doesn't shit. Robert Kraft doesn't shit. He doesn't understand what.
But you can't say that my brother's in the bathroom shitting, during the most important, craziest time of his life. He's about to get drafted.
I know, but he didn't know that. Okay, the Patriot way. I suppose you can tell us you have firsthand knowledge that you must know the story of Bill Belichick giving Larry Izzo a game ball one time because he successfully shit on the sidelines in a bucket without anyone noticing.
I've never heard that story. Larry Izzo is before my time. That doesn't surprise me, though, if that is in well true, but I've never heard that story.
Tell me again what you just said in my ear, Whittingham, because you're so right.
Yeah, there's a bit of a delay in our internet connection, and the 3-second wait in between when you asked the question and when Jason McCourty heard it really made me feel uncomfortable.
Yes, I was deeply uncomfortable as well. I think we were all made uncomfortable by that.
Why'd you assume everyone knows the inside story?
I just assumed I thought it was Patriots lore. I thought everyone in that locker room knew that Belichick had given a game ball for that. I would think that history would get passed down in the Patriot locker room.
It must have missed me. So, but as soon as we get off this call, I'm going to shoot Deb a text and say, hey, is there a player that you've ever known to get a game ball for taking a shit during the game? So
Thank you.
I'll be interested to see what
I
his response
appreciate
is.
you doing some reporting for us on that.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady, Jason. What the hell?
Yeah, man.
I mean, seriously.
Like, Jesus.
That's the question.
What
the hell?
What the hell?
Yeah.
Man, amazing guy. I tell people all the time because I think when it comes to Tom, he's so great at what he does and everything he touches, whether it's obviously playing football, the TB12 stuff he has, releasing his Brady brand clothing, one of the most down-to-earth superstars that you can ever be around. When he was in that locker room, he would sign anything for the guys. We'd be going hard on him, making jokes. And I remember there was a time, I think it was last summer, my son is the biggest Tom Brady fan, takes Tom over me and Deb any day of the week. But we were out and we're throwing the football around and he runs a double move and I throw a deep ball to him and he catches it. So we record it. So I'm showing him. He's like, man, you got to send that to Tom Brady. So I'm like, all right, bud, I'll shoot him a text. Mr. Brady's kind of busy. And shot him a text. And a few hours later, sends me back a message like, man, tell him keep working. One day I hope that I'm able to throw him a pass. You should have saw my son's face. Like he lit up, was fired up about it. And that's just kind of the type of person Tom Brady is. And I think some of that has obviously, he's talented as heck too, but I think some of that has led to him playing for this long because of the impact he makes on people around him.
Answer some fill-in-the-blank questions for me here, rapid fire here, before we get into your new job as the co-host of Good Morning Football. The best cornerback in football today is blank.
Oh, I'm gonna go Jalen Ramsey.
The receiver who gave me the most problems was blank.
Andre Johnson.
The receiver my brother would tell you gave him the most problems was blank.
Brandon Marshall.
The guy who's talked to me in a way that was trash talking that surprised me during a game was blank.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Really?
What do you say?
Really?
I mean,
you were expecting respectful, professional, and what'd you get?
The nicest guy in the world. He comes up to me before the game. Hey, McCourty, I saw you just signed a contract. Man, that's awesome. You, your brother, your family, everybody must be so proud. But then he goes out there and he's just trying to dunk the ball on your head all game. But you think like you're in this game and it's like this great guy and you're going to be chit-chatting the whole game. And it wasn't that. He's out there and you guys know the way he approaches the game, how hard he works. He blocks 100%, everything he does. But it's almost like mind games in the beginning, how nice he is to everybody.
He sucked you in, man.
The most awestruck I was sharing a field with somebody was blank.
I'll say Keith Bullock. He was a hometown hero for us.
The guy that I didn't want protecting the quarterback if I happened to be blitzing was blank.
Maurice Jones-Drew.
Really?
Because
he'd go low? Because what? Just strength, and he's going to blow up your legs.
Good luck moving Maurice Jones-Drew.
He was going to blow you up. He was a little bowling ball, and there was nothing to do. He'd be able to down there low, and he'd strike up. And I remember one time trying to tackle him. There's a picture of me and our linebacker, Akeem Ayers. Maurice Jones-Drew is still running, and both of us have lost our helmets as he ran us over and kept going down the side.
That's so great. That is amazing. Yeah. He should be a Hall of Famer, right? Dan doesn't think any Jaguar should make it to the Hall of Fame. He should be in the Hall of Fame, right?
No Jags, none of them. None of them.
No Jags in the Hall of Fame.
No.
That's just brutal.
None of them. It cheapens the place. Jason,
It kind of does.
the new co-host job, you feel how about this? Good Morning Football is a big start, and it's a great job, and it seems like they do their show a little bit differently. I imagine it called you a little bit that they have so much fun.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm excited about it. Obviously, Peter and Kyle, they built that show from the ground up along with Nate and Kay. And for me and Jamie to kind of jump in now and just they're leading the way and we're learning from them. I'm excited. It's a new challenge, the earliest I've ever had to wake up in my life. But I'm enjoying the grind of it so far. It's only 2 days in, so I'm still that fresh new rookie who's just excited to go to training camp every single day and learn from the veterans. So it's been a blast, and I'm looking forward to it.
On your way out, and thank you for being with us, tell us something about Belichick that people might be surprised to learn.
Man, he's a lot funnier in person than you think. There's always a lot of jokes and nuances. In that squad meeting, he used to play Gronkowski's Tide commercials. We'd all be in there cracking up. And then when he is getting on you, some of his references and the things he says will have you cracking up. I remember he got on a guy who wasn't running hard enough on punt, and he was just like, I mean, come on. My dead grandmother is running faster than that.
Your late grandmother. Gronk's a meathead, right? Just a trained polar bear?
1,000%. 1,000%. He danced so hard in the locker room one day that it was full of sweat. Full of sweat.
You didn't want those problems. Your secondary didn't want either, right? Because it's just impossible that he's playing. He's so much bigger than everybody else.
Exactly. And he was fast too, and he was physical. And I think that was the toughest thing, is that you knew when you were going against him, you weren't getting a finesse guy. He was somebody that was coming to work, and it was going to be a battle each and every snap.
Thank you, sir. It was good talking to you. We appreciate it.